Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, another wonders of video for you today, and today I want to talk about digital rules and the future of the good old book. So this particular series, if you haven't watched it before, it's basically just a general discussion, quite a relaxed discussion. I have no notes on the topic, so I'm going to be just talking off the top of my head. I do have a couple of things in front of me that I'm going to show you as I talk, but it's pretty much unplanned. So just have a quick sip of coffee and we will get started. Ooh, that's quite hot. I've only just made it. Okay, so digital rules. So I'm coming from a slightly old school point of view in most of the cases, probably during this discussion, but I'm a pretty open-minded person, so I'm going to look at it from both points of view, I suppose. Now, I don't actually own a smartphone. I do have a mobile phone, but it's not one of these things where you can have like apps and stuff, so I'm totally not into the digital age in terms of downloading codexes and stuff. On top of that, I just love a good book. A codex on paper is awesome. I suppose it's the collector side as well for me. I also collect other books as well, and I've got a whole host of Star Trek books that I collect. And I've always thought, a Kindle maybe is quite a good idea. I do think that I would like a Kindle and have all my books on the Kindle, but then I think it's nothing like having a book, a paper book in your hand, and on your bookshelf. I keep looking over there because that's where my books are. But they look really awesome. So yes, now obviously technology has changed an awful lot, and I totally understand that. And if they can produce a codex, effectively a codex like this one, in a digital form and sell it effectively cheaper, because obviously there's no paperwork, no bounding, no machineries to make it, then it's got to be a good thing, hasn't it? You can get your rules for cheaper. Well, arguably yes. I mean, if you look at the inflation of codexes, for example, this is my old Space Wolves Codex, which is a very thin piece of paper book, very thin book. Still pretty awesome. It's got some good content in it, and I believe this was about £10 when I bought it. 15 years ago probably. Now admittedly, I believe you needed the Space Marine Codex with this as well. In actual fact, I know you did, because my Space Wolves 13th Company, which had the IDICBeer Codex, I needed the IDICBeer Codex, I needed this Codex, and I needed the Space Marine Codex. So I actually needed 3 codexes to play that one army. I suppose that's sort of where we are at the moment, with all the formations and data slates and codexes and supplements and stuff, White Dwarf missions and rules and stuff. So I suppose we're sort of a bit like that now. But of course, the newer books, which are much higher quality, much thicker, still very good content. Debatable, the layout maybe. I'm not convinced about the layout in some areas where you have to flick quite heavily to get to certain rules, but of course a lot more expensive. I can't remember exactly, but I know my new Aldar Codex was £35 for a codex. That's a lot of money. I mean, that's more expensive than the rule book used to be. There are some instances, of course, where books are just useless, really. I mean, really? Really? Weighs a ton. Yeah, of course. 6th edition. What a book that is. That really was like pushing the boundaries of books. Whether they did that because they were doing that big price increase on the rule book, I don't know. But that is just a bit too much, even for me, who likes books. But I suppose, actually, as I said, this is just coming off the top of my head, so nothing really planned. But of course, I am going to be expecting a lot of comments on this video from you guys, because I know everyone's got all different experiences, and I've never used a digital codex. So tell me, guys. I find this difficult to find stuff where, for example, well, first of all, they don't say troops. HQ, they just got a little symbol, it's ridiculous. Have the symbol, fine, but come on. I want to see troops there. I want to see HQ there. But no, what I'm talking about is, like, the Space Wolves war gear list would be there in front of all the army sections, give you the points, but then it gives you a page number, and then you've got to go to the page number, which is all the way the other side of the book somewhere. And then things like warlord traits, they seem to be a random spell. Like, I know the warlord trait in one codex is on page 38, and then the next codex on a different page. I mean, why not stick all that info in like a really sensible place, like at the beginning or at the back? Or and the other thing I really hate is this fold out sheet. Now, quite interesting, I see they haven't done that on the Eldar codex, but always happens to me. It was really annoying because I like to look after my stuff, but this page here just gets like creased, and it doesn't matter how careful you are trying to close it, it always gets creased. So yeah, if you've got a digital version of this book, or indeed one of the other codexes, how easy do you find it to navigate like that? You know, trying to find pieces of war gear and then trying to find out what they do on the digital codex. And is it easier? Do you have like, and I don't know how it works, so I would be interested to know about that. So as always, if you want to make a video response to this video, that would be awesome as well. You know, any feedback you've got, because at the end of the day, I think there's probably a lot of people in my position that just like, they're just turned off by digital stuff. It'll be interesting to know. So that's one disadvantage of that. Having said that, there's nothing better than having the codex with you when you're playing games. You know, having to flick through a silly little thing, whatever it is, iPad, iPhone, Galaxy, whatever you've got. Yeah, I don't know, I'm not convinced that that's very as good. I mean, if, for example, when you're playing a game and your opponent wants to know something about your army, if you've got a codex there, you can just show it to them, flick through the page, let them have the book. Not quite so easy when you've got it on a phone. I mean, what happens if you give that phone to your opponent and he's flicking through and he accidentally drops it or something, you know? That's an expensive drop compared to if you dropped your codex. Also, if you get a rules query, and I don't know about you, but when I play, and obviously generally I only play my buddies. I played Ace Face, of course, fairly recently. Now, when we play, we never look at each other's army list. I don't know if that's what you do, but I mean, Ace came down, we got our models out, we told each other what we had in our army, we played. You know, we'd set the points level beforehand. I mean, I don't know if Ace played 3,000 points as opposed to 2,000 points. I didn't ask. You know, you just trust your opponent, don't you? And I think it's like part of what we do. I mean, if somebody wants to win by cheating, then let them win by cheating, because at the end of the day, you know, if they need to cheat to win, then let them have it. Maybe that's another topic, cheating. But anyway, so I must admit there's been a couple of times where I've turned up for a game and my buddies brought out a unit, and coincidentally that unit has the exact guns for my army, to kill my army. Guns that it doesn't necessarily always have, so the guns might switch each time we play. And you think to yourself, well, has he got that right gun for that list? I.e., has he seen my army and then said, okay, I'm going to have that on that thing today, because that would be best against them. So obviously, without an army list, I wouldn't be able to say, oh, can I just check that? What guns you got? And have a look at the guns. Not that I would, because I trust my opponents. I know, I 100% know it's just like a coincidence. But if it was somebody I was playing that I didn't trust, then it's much more difficult, I feel, to say, well, can I have a look at your list? If it's on a phone or an iPad or whatever, than actually having it on a piece of paper. Because on a piece of paper, it's like there, it's at hand. So I can have a look at your list, and then they can go, yeah, here you go, there it is, piece of paper. Whereas, can I have a look at your list? And it's like, oh, let me just find it, and then it's like, I'm doing all this and stuff. And I don't know. I think there's a lot to be said for books. Now, the other thing is, of course, that there are some books that I have that I know that if I had a digital version of them, I probably wouldn't have them anymore. I mean, I don't think can you really collect digital rules, digital books? Take this one for example. This is my chapter approved. Get sneaky drinking now. Chapter approved book. And this is basically like a book they used to release, I believe it was every year, and this had loads of good stuff in. It's all the stuff that, like a collection of stuff that throughout the year that went into White Dwarf. It had FAQs in there, it had like additional missions, and I suppose we get half of the stuff now anyway. Not necessarily in a book, but just imagine this was a digital book. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have it by now. And this is the type of book that you'll actually look at quite a lot, because it's pretty awesome actually in this book. I just flickered through this now, seeing a Necron army list and looking at the points cost. I mean, Necron Warrior is 18 points and you had to have 10. And you only had one HQ choice, and it was pretty expensive. But the thing that struck me was Scarab Swarms, 6 points a model, 20 points now. But one really good thing that I loved about this, if I can find it, is, where are you? Here we go. Tyrannid Monsters, a guide to spawning. There you go. This is about creating your own monster, and it's got it shows you the system for actually working out the points of the model that you create. So if you want, say, toughness 8, could it cost you so many points? If you want toughness 6, and it gives you it lets you work out the points. And I've used this a couple of times. I had one of my son's toys. It was like a flying dinosaur, and I'll show you that picture, that cool model. And I had this like flying dinosaur, and I made up some rules for it, worked it out using this chapter approved book. I did a 200 point one, just like a cheap one, and then I did a 500 point one, just like a massive beast. At the time it was, we're talking quite a long time ago. Obviously now 500 points is nothing. But yeah, would I still have this book? Would I still enjoy this book if it was in digital format? I don't know. All you digital buffs, what do you do with your old books, old rules? Do you keep them, archive them, delete them? I don't know. So yeah, feedback on that would be great. Of course, things have moved on a bit, and in terms of the products that are being sold, So obviously the books now, which are still in production, I don't know whether they will stop production. Maybe they will. It doesn't look like it. I mean, we're getting things like data cards and psychic power cards and stuff, which are being sold obviously alongside the books, pushing the price up of the books, of course. I mean, this is my Aldar one, which was £7.50 on top of the £35 for the codex. All of a sudden, what used to be a £10 codex is now about 40 something pounds, so a huge boost. Now of course I don't need these, but let's face it, these are almost essential if you want to do Maelstrom missions, and very useful if you want to do psychic powers. One quite interesting thing about this, and as you know, I bought my codex, Aldar codex, quite late. I went into my Games Workshop store and said, I'm looking for the Aldar. When I bought the codex, I said, oh yeah, I also want the data cards. And the manager of the shop said, oh no, they were a limited run. We don't have any, can't get them. So, well, that's a shame, you know. And I thought to myself, well, next time I'll have to make sure I go in early and get them when the codexes are released. Even if I don't buy the codex, get the cards, which, fun enough, is what I did with my Space Wolves one. Then I went into my very local, tiny little hobby shop to see if they had one, because more often than not, where they're quite small, they have like old stuff that GW don't have anymore. Like for example, they had this shield generator thing in there for quite some time, you know, after Games Workshop sold out of it. So anyway, so I went in there and said, do you have the data cards? And he said, no, but I can order them for you. And I said, no, can you? He goes, yeah. So okay then, thanks, yeah, I'll order some. So ordered them. A week later, he phoned me up and said they're in. So I went in and got them. So I don't know what's going on with GW. Maybe just couldn't be bothered to order them for me. Maybe £7.50 wasn't worth the hassle of going to the computer, because they do it all online, don't they? But just me, I thought that was quite interesting. So what else? What else? Obviously we've got things like data slates now. So the data slate, I mean, there is definitely one thing to say about digital, is it really helps GW keep the rules coming, keeps the rules up to date, sort of. I mean, we still have a problem with FAQs just not being quite quick enough, but yeah, I mean, the Tyranid Codex came out, and then obviously we had all those additional rules and units come out afterwards. Now in the past, of course, that would be impossible, because, I mean, who's going to buy a brand new codex, like, you know, a little while after you just bought one? So that definitely is a plus point. And of course, now that we have our drop pods for Tyranids, you know, I'm very happy with that. And to have the rules available just to print off on the website and stuff, that is awesome. But it certainly shows that digital has a lot of positives. And as I said, although I'm old school, I do have an open mind, and I do appreciate that digital rules are really good for many reasons. I'm just not there yet. Maybe when I get a newer phone with like all the apps on and stuff, I might go in that direction, but I have to be honest, I don't think I will. I just love my books too much. I know a lot of you out there will be saying, you know, I hate books, I love digital, and I'd like to get the feedback on that as well. I mean, let me know what it is you love about digital so much. If you want to make a video response, let me know. Do a video response, that'd be awesome as well. So I think it's a good discussional topic. I don't know how well I've discussed this. As I said, it's all off the top of my head, and I've done the first 3 videos in this series were the ones that I had planned for a long time. This one is one I've said, what should I talk about? And then I came up with this topic. So I don't know how well it's gone. I'll have to watch it back, but hopefully it's not bored you too much. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, And that's it. That's the end of the video. So thanks for watching.